So thanks everyone for being here. As you know, we had our inaugural National Justice Party meeting about a month ago, and the reception we got from that was, I'll be honest, I actually didn't expect the reception that we got. It was quite enthusiastic, and we got it from many different quarters that we weren't expecting. It wasn't just people that we knew already, people that had been out to things, people that we had met before. It was coming from, we had boomers writing us. We had people writing us with their full name and address. They were writing us and telling us, I've been waiting for something like this. Finally, someone has come out and said these things that I've been thinking for so long. And this is the purpose. Thank you. This is why we finally decided to do this. As you know, since about March, this country has been on fire, and literally and figuratively. And it's not just us; it's spread to Europe, and it's spreading to Australia, New Zealand, to every part of the world where white people are a majority. Suddenly exploded in this anti-white rage, as if it was planned. In fact, I think it was planned. It wasn't just planned for this immediate circumstance. It's been planned for the last several decades at least, if not longer. And what it is, it's an escalation. It's an escalation in the attack on the white race that has been going on. And make no mistake, it is racial. It's the unmentionable thing, the great unmentionable thing in all politics. But if you can't mention it, then you can't really do anything about it. And nobody in politics today wants to mention it. As I was saying, we saw this segment on Fox News the other night where Tucker Carlson, based Tucker, Kosher Carlson was saying, Tucker Carlson, he had a reporter from a neoconservative Jewish magazine published out of New York City called City Journal that was complaining about all the cathode ray tube training that's going on in schools today. No, not cathode ray, but CRT, which is the abbreviation they use for critical race theory. But we know what that means. It means anti-white. Anti-white. That's what critical race theory means. And they are pretending to do something about this. So Donald Trump has issued an edict. I want to know all the departments that are financing this. But by the way, if you read the fine print, it's like, actually, you don't actually have to tell us. And we don't plan on doing anything about it. This is just so we could get a headline pretending like we're doing something about it. And in this segment with Tucker Carlson and this reporter for this Jewish magazine, they lament for several minutes that the army, the military, is getting this kind of training, which is making them less effective in their mission. And of course, what's their mission? We all know their only mission is to defend that little sliver of land in the Middle East occupied by Jews illegally. And that is the only mission of the U.S. military. It is not to defend our country. It is not to defend our people. It's not to defend our race. In fact, we are simply a recruiting pool for cannon fodder for Jews. That's how we are considered. And their only concern is, if you maybe go too hard on these guys, they're going to be their confidence will be shaken, so they won't be able to fight for Israel as well. But that's not the real issue. That's not the real issue, because it's not just the military. It's in every corporation. It's in every school. It's in every kindergarten. They're teaching this to young children. Not only that, they're teaching young children, you might not be a boy or a girl. Maybe your hormones are wrong. They're teaching this kind of stuff. And yet through all of this, they managed to talk about this whole thing without once mentioning the white race. We have the Republican National Convention just a couple of weeks ago. Did anyone hear the white race mentioned one time? No. How many black Uncle Toms did they trot up on the stage to talk about whatever conservatism, Christianity, whatever fake thing that they're pretending to believe in now, without once mentioning the majority of their voters and the majority of this country? So if you have a democracy, and if it works how it's supposed to work, now a lot of people are critical of the system of democracy, but if it works how it's theoretically supposed to work, you would think you'd have politicians pandering to us every day. White people, here's what I'm going to do for you. Here's what's great about white people. Here's what I can do. Here's a tax break you can have. Here's a land deal you can have, whatever it might be. But they won't do it. We are the great unmentionable. People have often said, oh, you guys talk a little bit too much about the Jewish question. You talk a little bit too much about the Jewish problem, about how much power Jews have. But you know what? Nobody ever mentions white people. That's the real unmentionable. You hear Donald Trump talk about Jews all the time. I mean, it's all he ever really talks about. He talks about Israel and Jews, right? He never talks about us. Yeah, we're the ones he depends on to get him in office every time. How would any of these people be in office if it wasn't for the white vote? And they know it, but they won't do anything for us. And we're tired of it. We are tired of it. No more. All right. No more. No more. So we need to have a party as a focal point of organization, of ideology, and of action that is going to be unequivocally and unapologetically pro-white. Because that's what's called for, because that's how we're under attack. Every time you hear these anarchists, these Black Lives Matter people, the critical race theorists that occupy every institution up and down, I mean, if you're a white man and you have a job and they start doing critical race theory, when they start doing critical race theory at your job, you know what that means. It's you're next, buddy. Your head is on the chopping block. You're going to be the next one replaced by an unqualified black person or someone from India on some kind of special visa that's worked out with the government, whatever it might be. You're not going to get into the school of your choice if you're in high school. You're not going to get the job of your choice if you're graduating from college. Hell, if you're in the military, you're not going to get a promotion. Every single thing is cut off from you because of this critical race theory crap, which is really just an excuse, an intellectual excuse invented by Jews to keep white people out of positions of power. That is the purpose of it. That's the only purpose of it. They want to keep us out of power. They want to occupy every choke point of communications, every choke point of power. That's why George Soros, now we always hear about George Soros from the Republicans, but they never get it right. What do they say? He's a Nazi. He's not a Nazi. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. What George Soros really is an international Jew that has bought and paid for not the president, not senators, but every local district attorney in this country. So if you go out to defend yourself against anarchists and Black Lives Riot, I'm not wrong, right? I'm not wrong. Black Lives Matter rioters, if you go out to defend yourself from that, you better believe you're going to be the one in front of the judge with the district attorney going down your throat. And they're going to be getting, oh, I'm sorry, I don't see anything wrong that they've done. So you have these George Soros funded, and it's not just him, he's just the top guy, all of these DAs across the country. That's why we have a white man, and make no bones about it, it wasn't because he was a Christian, it wasn't because he was a patriot, it wasn't because he was a Trump supporter, it was because he was white. That's why he was executed in Portland 2 weeks ago, and they weren't going to go after the guy that did it if not for the fact that he made a fool of himself by going on TV. That's how much, but think about it, that's how much power he thought he had. That's how much backing from the wealthy and powerful he thought he had. I can shoot a white man in cold blood on the streets of America, and then I can go on TV and brag about it, and nothing's going to happen to me. The only reason they had to do something was the situation was too volatile for them, and that's a good thing, and that's because of us. Yeah. So right now, we are the great unmentionable, but in fact, we're so unmentionable that it's clear that we're on everybody's minds. It's clear if they are just avoiding talking about one thing, you know that's the one thing that they're most afraid of. The one thing that they don't want to talk about the most is the one thing that they're always considering. The white people are the great unmentionable, also the great, shall we say, destabilization factor in this system. It's the one thing they feel they can't totally control and they're most nervous about. And we want to make that worse for them, don't we? Yeah. We want to make that worse for them. Yeah. We are here to make it worse for them. We are here to make it so the Republican Party can no longer stand up there and pretend to care about you and give you half of what you want, give you a bunch of Uncle Toms talking about things that you don't care about and telling you, giving you like aged beer and telling you it's wine. They're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to let them do that anymore. They're going to try and do that. They're going to try and feed you, a Swanson TV dinner, but I'm giving you a filet mignon. That's the point of this, right? That's the point of this. We are out here to tell white people the truth, give them the real politics, the real ideology, and the real understanding of what the system is about. And the fact that they won't mention us, they don't want to talk about us, they wish we weren't here, but we are, and we're not going anywhere. And that's why National Justice Party was formed, and that's why you're all here. And I want to thank everyone for being here. All right. Thank you, everyone.